Hello, everybody. This video I'll be going to give you also the background and how to do the deterministic finite automata. So suppose that we will be going to. I'll just have to use my iPad here. Do a DFA that will accept strings of A's and B's where that end with substring, let's say a b b a. So as what we have mentioned, that for deterministic finite automata, that we will be having that is actually determined in each state. So their alphabet A and B must be determined in each single state. So let's actually deal with that one by one then. So our goal here is we will be going to draw their DFA for this requirement first. That will end with ABBA, and after that we'll begin to check as well their what will be their other transitions of those other alphabet. So suppose that Q0 will be your initial state. Make sure that for your initial state that there will be an arrow points to that specific state as to initialize that is the initial state then. Because if you will not be going to put that, it will be considered as wrong already. So let's actually draw first the minimum requirement. Suppose that your minimum requirement is A for here. Then we have Q2, the B, and let's draw for Q3 also as the B, and for Q4 as your A. So since the minimum requirement has been established, we can also say that the Q4 is our we call this one our final state then. So when we say final state, um that is actually you need to put a double that is a double circle for that state to signifies that that is the end of the end state wherein those automaton will be accepted already in your machine. Now, so since every state, the A and B must be determined, so you need to make sure that you will be going to determine each of those possible states where does that specific string of A and B will go or will proceed. So we're able to determine for from Q0 the A. So since our goal is ending with substring ABBA, so that means to say it will accept BA, ABBA, and BBB or ABB, or then B ABBB, then end with ABBA, and any um type of what we call this one start string will be acceptable as long as it will really end with ABBA. So that those are the it will not accept, for example, BA, ABBA, BB. No, that is not acceptable in this kind of DFA. So let's try to go ahead and determine for Q0. Since A has been established, let's try to check if we will be going to look the B here. Does this is it still follow does that follow the condition that will end with substring? So let's try to check. So B A B B A, so that is still acceptable. So for Q1, since A is not established in this case, so since the condition will end with substring A, BBA, so we can also loop it back here in that particular state. Since no matter how many, no matter how many A that you do have, because when you loop it into that particular state, it will accept empty to more A's particularly. So if you will be going to, for example, BA, then A, then it will still end with ABBA. That is still acceptable in your DFA. Afterwards, in our Q2 right now, A was not established in this particular state. So if you will begin to loop that into itself, it will trigger our condition. It will become a B A B A. So that's not acceptable anymore. So if you will be going to go back into Q1, let's try to see B A B A, then B B A. So that still and the particular conditions that we do have. And what about for Q3? Q3, what will happen for this? So if you will be going to loop it into that particular state only, that will trigger the condition. It will become A, B, 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 and A. That is not acceptable in our particular language that we were able to mention above. And if you will be going to move that into Q2, it will become A, B, B, then B, 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 B. It will accept more B's still. What about if we will be going to bring that, or go back into the Q0? Okay, so let's actually move it back to Q0. Let's try to check. B, A, B, B, then B, go back here, A, B, B, A. It will still be acceptable, right? Now, Q3 has been established for both A and B. For Q4, if you will be going to loop here, the A and B, it will trigger our condition because it will not end with A, B, B, A. It will really accept ABBA, BBBA, AAA, and so on, so forth. So we need to find the correct path for this. So for your A, we can actually go back into Q1 so that, for example, I'm so sorry. Okay. So if you will begin to go back, for example, ABBA, then go back to Q1A, then it will still be BA. So that is still acceptable. But for your B, it will be the same thing that we can go back into, that we can bring this B still into our direct to your Q0. So that is B. So right now, let's try to check if that is acceptable already. Let's try to check this one. If this is acceptable, BA, then A, B, B, A, correct. What about this one? A, then B, then B, and then there will be one B. So B and A, B, B, A. That is acceptable. What about this one? Let's try to see if this is not acceptable. This. So it must be B, A, then A, then B, B, A, then B, B. So we are just in this particular state. It is not acceptable. Why? Because we were not able to end in the final state. So this is not acceptable or in our particular DFA. So this is the DFA for this language that we do have above. And since as what we have stated that all of our DFA, we need to also find the five tuples. We have to declare the five tuples for that. What are those five tuples? The Q, When we say Q, those are the states that we do have. So what are the states, states that we do have here? It must be enclosed with curly braces because that is considered as a set of states. So the state that we do have will be from Q0, Q1, um, Q1, sorry, then Q2, Q3, and Q4. So those are the states that you do have. And also the alphabet, which is denoted with the sigma. So you have only A and B for the alphabet that is still enclosed because that is a set of particular alphabets. And for the transition function, we'll begin to do the transition table only because for transition function, it will be um, long for you to manage because, for example, from the transition of Q0 to A will be going to will go to the state Q1. So you don't you will begin to make it like that. But in our transition function, we can make it like this. For transition function, you can create a table for state, then input A and input B. Oh, something like that. And you have to list down the states that you do have, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, and Q5. So those are the states. So if from Q0, where we will go, if we will be going to for the input A from Q0, that is going to Q1. So we can write it here. But for Q0 input B, that is going to Q0 in itself. And for from Q1 input A, that is directing to itself, that is Q1. But for input B, that is transitioning to Q2. And from Q2 for input A, that go back that loop that moves to the Q1, so we can put here. And for the B, that moves to the Q3. And then for from Q3, where input A that is going to Q4, I'm so sorry. Corrected. We're just up until Q4. We don't have Q5. Now, for Q3, input B, we will go back into the Q0. And from Q4, where input A, that is going to Q1, and for Q4 input B, that is going to Q0. So those are, I'm so sorry, those are the details of your, let me just write it clearly. Can't write it. I'm so sorry. Let me just move it. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. That move back to Q0. That's how you will do that. So this is the transition table. You just have to create that one. And then after the transition table, you will also check the Q0. When we say Q0, that is the initial state wherein which will be the Q0 still. And for the F, that is the final state. We can enclose that in open and close curly braces because that signifies that our final state could be one or more set of state. Now, what will be the final state that we do have here? That is a Q4. So Q4 is your final state. So those are the 5 tuples that is really important. The Q, which is the state, the alphabet, the initial state, the final state, and the transition table for the DFA. But for the other automaton, we will be going to create a specific different way of getting their transition functions, or if we will be going to deal with the transition table, or it depends on how we will be going to do it later on. So that's the end of the deterministic finite automaton discussion. Hopefully that you do have an idea of that already. So thank you so much and goodbye.